Yo, what's good everybody, it's your girl French Vanilla here, and today I'm going to be learning how to region guess in Norway for 1 hour in Geoguessr. So, let's see how I do, and without further ado, let's jump right into the video. Okay, so, we are in a forest, and the trees look like they have some reddish trunks. A lot of these trees are very tall. Of course we've got our normal outer lines. I'm saying normal because the way to differentiate between Norway, Sweden, and Finland for the lines, the outer lines, is normal, short, and full. But these are longer dashes, so that's why they're normal. But reddish tree trunks, I don't know where that's more common, so I'll go Geoguessr. Okay, not horrible. This was vegetation pine. So pines are most common in coastal and far inland areas in the southern half of the country. Okay, so kind of southern half if I see a lot of pine. Not a ton of pine, although we do see mountains, but I think there's a lot of mountains in Norway, so I don't know if this is a specific range or something like that. Sky is very blue. We have a rusted guardrail. Maybe that could be the meta. It could just be the water that we see through the trees over here. It could be the specific mountain over there. Or maybe it's even this pole top. It's a flat bar at the top, and then there's two supports that kind of make a triangle under it. Where do I want to go? I'm not entirely sure, so I guess I'll just go Galo. Okay, 1.4 could have been better. This is the infrastructure rusty guardrail. So rusty guardrails are almost exclusively found in coastal regions, and particularly on the southern half of the west coast. Okay, so most common on this coast down here on the left side of Norway. That kind of makes sense. I wonder if it has something to do with the water kind of just being picked up in the breeze and, I don't know, thrown onto the guardrail. I don't know if that makes sense. We have full outer lines. They're not dashed, but we do have this kind of chevron over here, which is yellow arrows on a black background. And then we have, in addition to the outer lines, we have yellow dashed middle. We have a whole bunch of wind turbines, so maybe it's the abundance of wind turbines is in a certain area. Maybe it'll just be one of those general metas that tells you if it has the long yellow dash line in the middle, that's Norway. It could be this mountain range. It's not a super jagged mountain range. They're a little bit smoother, but there is some snow on them. Not seeing an abundance of pine, if any at all. So maybe I'm thinking not the most far south. Let's go label click. Okay, a lot further north, so I could have been a little bit closer there. This was a landscape E10 east of Narvik meta, so it seems like a specific route. So let's find Narvik. Narvik is up here, and this is east of Narvik. So this road is very green and usually features big mountains with no trees. Right on the Swedish border, you'll find parts without trees. Okay, and Narvik we can kind of find if you go very close to the top of Norway, and I think even on the zoom level where you can only see 10 cities in Norway, I can see Narvik, so it seems like it's a fairly big city, so just find that closer to the top with the border with Sweden, and hopefully that should be easy to find. Low-key from this angle, I don't know if I'd guess it was Norway. Something about this just NMPZ shot made me feel I don't know, just further south in Europe. But let's look around. We do have a lot of, I think these are pine trees, and they're very, very tall. We have a rock wall. I wonder if the rock wall is a meta. It could also just be this mountain range around us and this lake. But further south, I'll go near Bergen. Okay, not horrible. This was just the general vegetation pine meta, so good that we went in the south of Norway. And we got 3.7, so pines are the most common in coastal and far inland areas in the southern half of the country. Okay. Long dash outer lines, normal, people on bikes, okay. We have a lot of just a grassy field. It seems like it's autumnal coverage because I'm seeing a lot of trees that are red, we've got kind of orange, we've got yellow, we've got some greens. A lot of the red houses, which I think are just common all over the country. We do have these speed signs that say 50 on kind of an electric yellow background with a red border. Ooh, actually, I was gonna say the lines on the left look a little bit shorter than normal lines, but I think that's just the perspective. Yeah, the biggest thing that stands out to me in this round particularly is autumnal colors and stuff, so maybe it's gonna be a specific road or region was more covered in fall. So let's see. I'll just plonk in near Drammen and we'll see where we are. Okay, not horrible. Ooh, I didn't even notice this. Okay, so infrastructure, small blue snow pole. So small blue snow poles can be found around Elverum. And where is Elverum? Zoomed out. Okay, so Elverum is if you go north of Oslo, like slightly further north, and then it's like, what is the biggest city? Yeah, slightly further north of Oslo, south of Lillehammer though, so somewhere in between those and then a little bit to the east. So small blue snow pole near Elverum. All right, we got 10.5K. Let's keep going. Okay, big lake. So maybe this is a recognizable lake or it could just be like a general lake meta. I don't know how specific all the metas in this specific map are gonna get, but we have 3 maps for today. So we'll be learning lots of different metas, hopefully, and remembering most of them. We do have this like blue house, the pale blue house to my left with a porch. We've got like a little like buggy or something outside of the person's house. I think it's probably just gonna be a specific like city meta or like, you know, area because of like the big lake and the mountains. I don't see a ton of snow. I don't see a ton of pines or anything either, so I'm thinking maybe further north because of the lack of pines. So let's go near Narvik. Okay, even further north, these were the northern coastal grasslands. So coastal grasslands with little to no other vegetation and only somewhat low, distant mountains can be found by coastal roads in the far north. I mean, I really feel like I guess really far north there, but like, I guess it's just like hard to imagine like how tall the country actually is because like this is way further north than I normally guess, and I still was only getting 600 points in that round. So very, very far north if I see like no trees. Okay. We've got kind of like a green grassy field. We've got these rock walls all along the edge. I see some pine, so maybe fairly somewhat in the south. Do I see small blue snow poles? No snow poles as long or as far as I can see. I don't think anything else is particularly like telling me a certain area, so let's go near Hamar. Okay, this was a lot further southwest. So this was landscape Stavanger farmland. So the farmland south of Stavanger is flatter than most of the country. The fields look vast and open, and it is very common to see rock walls made of large round rocks. Furthermore, rather than crops, most fields will only contain grass. Okay, Stavanger farmlands only contain grass mostly, and that's in the southwest. This vegetation is interesting because it's like, I don't want to say like dead, but a lot of like the bushes and trees kind of like don't have any of their leaves or anything. We see some snowy mountains around, but not super jagged mountains, not like a huge lake. There seems to just be like small like puddles and things like that. A couple of pines, but not like a ton of pines, but someplace very mountainous. I'll go near Donbass. Okay, I guess I need to look closer at the snow poles because I didn't even register the snow pole at all in that round, and there was already another snow pole meta. So Norway infrastructure bamboo snow poles. So bamboo snow poles are regional and can mostly be found in Innlandet, Akershus, Østfold, Buskerud, and Vestfold, but can also be found rarely in Trøndelag, Vestland, Agder, Telemark, and Rogaland. Okay. And that's kind of, according to this map, like maybe like around where like label click is. So if I see a bamboo snow pole, kind of closer to that center there. Okay. The first thing I noticed is that on the side of the road, the dirt appears to be a little bit reddish. I don't know if that is just like because of like the pine trees or something around and, you know, like the needles falling to the ground, giving it that reddish color. But there are some pine trees. There is kind of like a big hill in the back with a ton of like pine trees on it. So I think it's probably just going to be that general, more southern pine tree meta. So let's go kind of like near Galo. Okay, well, I guess those were not pine trees. So need to learn to differentiate between spruce and pine. This was Norway vegetation spruce. So spruces are mainly found in the southern half of the country, particularly in the southeast and around Trondheim. Okay, well, I guess that is the southern half of the country. I was going to say that's pretty far north, but if I like think about how far north Norway goes, that is definitely the southern half. Okay. Did we have this round? I do believe so because wind turbines and mountains. Are there snow poles? What was the meta in this round? Was it something about the farmland? Trees. There are trees, so it's not a lot of pine. I don't remember the meta in this round, but I don't think it had to do with the turbines. I feel like it was something to do with just maybe like the... I don't know. Yeah, I don't see the little blue pole, right? I don't remember where this was. Was this ever really far north? Maybe? I'm gonna go Bodo. Okay, not horrible, but could have been worse. Okay, this was a specific road. Okay. Yeah, now I remember learning about the specific road. So east of Narvik, E10. That makes sense. All right, 7.2K. Let's keep going. Ooh, okay. This feels like maybe it's going to be like a specific road meta. It feels kind of like a mountain pass because we're surrounded by mountains and waterfalls, and that is such a pretty waterfall. I mean, just like surrounded by like the rocks and snow and everything, like this would make like a perfect like, you know, background. But we can kind of see like we're really highly elevated because the clouds are closer to where the Google car is. We can see like the valley between the mountains. But I think this is gonna be a specific road and I don't yet know the road. So let's just plunk it near Oppedal. Okay, we got 2.8K. This is a landscape Trollstigen. So Trollstigen leads down a huge mountain and is surrounded by such. The road is very steep and windy. The rock is very dark and has green moss on it. Some sections are cut into the rock with waterfalls appearing. And we did see a ton of the waterfalls. So I did notice that. Why there's so many dots all over. Okay, yeah, that second one is a little bit confusing to me. Okay, let's just go next. A lot of trees, but these trees are they spruce or are they pine? Because I think last time I thought it was pine, it was actually spruce. Maybe they feel more spruce-like, so it was in the southern half, but it wasn't like so far southern, like I think near Trondheim. Okay, so I did identify that it was spruce, or at least I was questioning if it was spruce. Mainly found in the southern half of the country, so I think I guessed in an okay area, particularly in the southeast and around Trondheim. Which I think I did, yeah, I guessed near Trondheim, so I don't hate my guess there. This one we've had before because I remember the people biking on the side of the road. Ooh, blue snow pole. Little blue snow pole. Alvarium? Okay, we did remember that one. So, small blue snow pole found around Alvarium. Oh, Alvarum. I realized I was reading that wrong. These are, I feel like normal, like standard, like Norway snow poles. They're not like anything particularly, they're not blue, they're not bamboo or anything. I do have this route sign here, which like I could use to just like, you know, try to find out like the 5K of where I am, but I'm trying to see like what the meta is because I don't think that'll be like the meta. Potentially the meta is the abundance of birches around. There's a lot of like thin white birches. Anything with the houses feel very short maybe. Autumnal colors in the trees, standard snow poles. So I guess I'll go further south. I don't really have a strong reasoning for that. Let's go near Kongsberg. Oh god. Okay, so maybe I should have looked at the signs. I think I was just like avoiding them because I didn't want to just like read the signs and like, you know, pinpoint the exact location because I wanted to like learn the meta, but the sign was a meta in this instance. So this was language Sami sign. So bilingual signs with Sami can be found in several northern areas in Norway. While the Sami languages are very different from Norwegian, the best way to recognize them are the letters A with kind of like a little accent going to the right above the A. A letter that looks like a D that has like a line through it on the left side, and the use of several vowels in a row, something which is uncommon in Norwegian. Note that not all signs in these areas will be bilingual. Okay, yeah, I can see on like on the sign here, it says Sami Klinika. So that seems like it says like the actual like language on there. Okay, well this is like the most snowy round we've had so far. We're surrounded by a ton of snowy mountains, so I feel like that would make me think that maybe we're further north, but I could be wrong about that. Let's go near Laxelv and we'll learn where we are. But yeah, someplace very mountainous, very snowy, but we're still on a paved road. Okay, a lot further south, and another snow pole meta. This is like my third one I think I've learned so far. So big wooden sticks are found on roads that are covered with snow almost the entire year. So far, they've been spotted on the road that runs north of Hardangervidda National Park, on the road west of Jotunheimen, and southwest of Valdres Naturculture Park. Okay, big wooden snow pole, kind of like a little southwest of Label Click. Big wooden snow pole. Not wooden snow pole. But this round I think we've had, because I remember something about the green farmlands and these like rock walls. Now, is there any like snow pole? Just making sure there's no like, you know, small blue snow pole. I feel like it's gonna be a vegetation meta. Not a ton of trees, but not like no trees. So it was something about the vegetation. I don't really remember. Let's go further south near Porsgrunn. Okay, it was it was a Stavanger farmland. So the farmland south of Stavanger is flatter than most of the country. Very common to see the rock walls there. Okay, Stavanger farmlands. This round I've had also. Can I remember why or where? Not the language meta. Oh, no trees. That was the remarkable thing about this round. No trees, but it was like way further north than I was expecting. I think I went somewhere like here, and it was like somewhere up here. So I guess I'll go near Borselv and we'll see where we are. But I think it was like something about the no trees makes it very, very far north. Okay, I'll take 2.9 there. This was Norway landscape, northern coastal grasslands. So coastal grasslands with little or no other vegetation and only somewhat low distant mountains can be found by coastal roads in the far north. Ooh, this is definitely new because I feel like we haven't had this concrete barrier on the left side before. And also this is like a very huge transformer. So some sort of mountain pass or road where there's a lot of transformers visible and these concrete barriers on the side. It like almost reminds me of like the BC concrete barrier, but obviously those have holes in them and this is not Canada. So not that, but yeah, I guess it's just like a similar thing. So a mountainous area. There's not a ton of snow in the mountains. Let's go near Gopne. Okay, further south. This was landscape Lesevigen. Lesevigen is a very windy and skinny road with 28 wow, that's a very specific number, with 28 180-degree turns down the mountain. Notably, there are big power lines visible. You can see huge mountains in the distance. The coverage is very cloudy. Okay, so a lot of transformers. We're kind of closer down here near Stavanger-ish, but a little bit to the east. A little east of Stavanger. Doesn't this just feel like a similar round? I know we've had this particular round before because I recognize like the valley between the mountains, but I feel like it's just going to be similar area as the last round, no? So okay, nope, this was further north. So this was a huge mountain pass surrounded. Road is very steep and windy. Landscape Trollstigen. Okay. I guess I just need to differentiate between the different types of mountain passes because sometimes like they're mixing up together in my head, it looks like. This is a very green round. Like we have very green, like, you know, grass on the side of the roads. We have these like small like purple and white flowers also dotted alongside the road. There's a couple of like lakes or, you know, bodies of water. The mountains are not very jagged. They're not very snowy. They feel like very green mountains. It feels like maybe it's like getting towards like nighttime in this coverage. So maybe it's like getting close to nighttime coverage. Maybe it's something to do with the flowers on the side of the road. Not very snowy. A lot of lakes. Let's go near Raufoss. Okay, a lot further north. This was the landscape 82 Andoya. So the 82 on the island of Andoya, which let me find it so I know where I'm actually talking about. This island here, which is part of the Lofoten archipelago, is flat apart from one tabletop looking hill. In general, the hills on this road are quite unique and recognizable. You'll find short scrubs alongside the road, and often you'll be able to see water. Okay, Landscape 82 Andoya, which is all the way up there. 6K, let's keep going. Okay. This feels like a very wintry round maybe, because a lot of the trees don't have any leaves on them. These do not feel like pine. I think these feel more like spruce, so maybe it's like a spruce vegetation round. Normal snow poles, no blue ones, no giant bamboo ones, no giant other ones, because I think those were the 3 kinds. I think it's gonna be the spruce. So it was like up here near Trondheim, and then I think in the southeast as well. Go near Reyna. Okay, even further south. Ugh, I guess this was pine. Okay, so I just keep mixing up pine and spruce. Vegetation pine, most common inland and further south, which I know if I could identify correctly. Okay. Yellow middle. A lot of kind of rocky hills around, but not a ton of snow, so not super high elevation. Are these snow poles? No, these are just regular poles, right? Or are these a gigantic snow poles? Are these? Yeah, the gigantic, because there's no lines running across them, right? No power or whatever, so maybe these are the gigantic wooden poles, in which case, where was that? So blue ones are near here. I think the giant wooden ones were somewhere southwest of Label. Okay, not horrible. This was the big wooden snow poles. So big wooden sticks are found on roads covered with snow almost the entire year. And we were just a little bit further south. And by a little bit, I mean a lot of it, but I at least identified that the meta in that round was a snow pole. Okay, we are on a dirt road, so not a paved road. We're surrounded by a ton of trees, but none of them are super tall. I don't think I can identify the type of tree. They don't really seem like all one type of tree, but maybe this feels more like a pine tree. I'm not entirely sure. The trunk is a little bit red, but I also see some birches potentially around, so a good mix of stuff. But yeah, dirt road, lots of trees. Maybe it's a particular road meta. Let's go near Waros. Oh god. Okay, this was very far. We only got 11 points in that round, so this was Landscape Russian Border Road. So alongside the Russian border, which is all the way up here in the north, you can see this noticeably humid and green-looking road with very overcast and occasionally foggy coverage. The trees are somewhat low and mainly consist of thin birches and pines. Okay. Yeah, that is very far away. So it makes sense how I only got 11 points there. This is an interesting blur on the car. I wonder if this is just a different type of coverage or something. But so normal outer lines. Feels like we have normal snow poles, the orange with the silver band. There's a language in the back, but I can't particularly see it. We do have the diamond road marker, but that doesn't feel very unique to a particular region. Not seeing a ton of mountains around. It just feels like we're in a forest. We do have a city name sign, but it's not super clear and I don't recognize the city name. So where do we go? I guess because there's a lot of trees, we have to go somewhat further south. So let's go near Atta. Okay, it was further north. This was vegetation pine, most common in the southern half of the country, which we guessed in the southern half we were just really, really far away. Okay. There is a rock wall, but I don't think it's an abundance of rock walls. I'm looking for snow poles. Is that bamboo? Or is that just part of the... I'm wondering what this is on the side of the road. This stick sticking up. Is it the bamboo snow pole ever? It just feels like a farmland area. Not super hilly, not super mountainous. There are some trees, so it's not barren. Some pine, maybe, some spruce. So let's just go near Oslo. Stavanger farmlands. Okay, I guess I forgot this one again, or it's just like not sticking in my brain for some reason. So landscape, Stavanger farmlands is flatter than most of the country. Fields look vast and open, and you can see some rock walls. Okay, 5K. I'm gonna play this map one more time, and then we'll move on to the second map. Okay, we are on a dirt road, and there's a lot of trees. The last dirt road I was on was near Russian border, so let's go up here. Holy guacamole, 4.949. If I actually guessed on a road, Loki could have cooked with a 5K there. But I mean, 4.9 is still a cook anyways. But anyways, landscape Russian border road. So I was correct about that. Along the Russian border, you can see this noticeably humid and green looking road with very overcast and occasionally foggy coverage. The trees are somewhat low and mainly consist of thin birches and pines. Okay, cooking. This road I feel like I haven't had yet, but I could be wrong about that. There are some like short rock walls kind of on the left side I can see. Not enough to like block the car if it like, you know, hit the edge or anything like that, but they are there. It feels very humid, or at least like as humid as it can be in Norway. There's a lot of trees with like reddish trunks. There's some birches as well. A lot of the rock like walls and stuff around have moss and things growing on it. I don't know if I've had this round before or this meta, but if I have, then I forgot. Let's go near Mosjoen. Oh god. This was just a bunch of pines, so a further southern half of the country meta, and I guess a lot further north. Okay. Okay. Surely I'll remember this one this time, because I know that I've had this one. It was a valley between mountains high up. It was like Narvik. Is it like east of Narvik or something like that? Is it that one? Ugh. Okay. I think, yeah, why do I keep forgetting this one? Okay, so landscape, Trollstigen, huge mountain. Yeah, I just did not remember that one correctly. Okay. This one feels new to me. There's a lot of rocks around, but it's like an interesting shape to the rocks because I feel like very wavy on the top. It's kind of just like a hill, but it's like made of like a very wavy, smooth rock. And I don't think I've seen this before because I feel like I would remember what this looks like. It's almost like the back of like a turtle shell or something like that. That's what the texture reminds me of. I do see a lot of water kind of in the distance where the road is like curving off towards. It seems like maybe like a small town or city. We see the green plates around. I can see kind of like a gazebo shape of a house behind me. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think I see any like snow poles or anything that are like unique that I've learned. So I think this is a new brown. Maybe I think the rock is going to be like the meta here. Let's go near Lesjaskog. Okay, a lot further south. This is landscape exposed rock. So exposed rock, often spotted with small coastal pines and bushes, is mainly found on the south coast. Okay, so at least have to guess on the coast if I see this kind of rock, maybe in going on the south coast at that. This, I guess like from like this shot alone, I wouldn't guess this is in Norway. Like maybe it reminds me of like Italy or something for some reason. It's like the architecture. I don't know particularly why. Okay, so .no, which of course we are playing a Norway map, so that makes a lot of sense. I mean, it could be like a phone number meta. I don't know like the area codes or if like this like, you know, 55 means anything, but maybe it'll be like a phone code map or something like that. It could just be an architecture meta because like this is like the first or one of the first ones we've had it in like a big like city or just like, you know, town, main street type of a thing. So let's go. I feel like we're not gonna be in Oslo because it'd be like a bigger city. Let's go near Ringabu. Okay, this was actually in Bergen, so maybe I should have guessed there because I didn't think it was Oslo. But anyway, infrastructure Bergen hydrant. So you can find this specific design of green fire hydrants in Bergen. So green fire hydrant Bergen. Okay, we're ending on 6.7k. Not bad. Let's move on to the second map. Next up, we have Lernable, Norway. Okay, we are in a road that is not paved. It kind of just looks like a rocky / dirt road. I don't think this is paved, right? Yeah. With the poles around are wooden, so it kind of just feels like tree trunks. There are a lot of trees. I think some are birch or some spruce, some pine. I'm not particularly sure on this one. I don't know if it'll be like a specific road meta or if maybe it's just like the abundance of one type of tree meta. So let's go further south. Let's go near Flaw. Okay, even further south. So this was the pines more common in the southern half meta, which we know if we can identify correctly. This feels like a big city / town as well. There's a lot of buildings around. Not seeing any like snow poles or anything that I recognize. Not seeing any fire hydrants. So what is the meta going to be? Maybe this type of like fencing is more common in a particular city. It could be something to do with this like metal box that's kind of like attached to the wooden pole. So attached to the wooden pole, there's like a teal, like kind of like blue-green box attached to it with yellow dots on it, which I don't know what the purpose of that box is. There's also like a black band around the pole that says 12-5, so that could mean something as well. Let's go in a big city. I guess we'll go in Bergen because last time it was like a city meta, it was in Bergen. Okay, this time it was Oslo, so it's okay. We got 900 points there. These were Oslo pole plates. So fairly large black or red pole plates can be found in Oslo. So the thing that I found with the numbers on the pole was near Oslo. Okay, this is Gen 2 coverage question mark because of the circle in the sky and the circle below. I don't know if it's going to be like a coverage type meta. If it's like, oh, this one road or pass was only covered in Gen 2 so far. Could be something related to that. There are a lot of like mountains around and there's a ton of snow as well, which I love snow, so shout out snow. Not President Snow, like from Hunger Games. I mean snow, like winter. Let's go near Opdal. Okay, a lot further north. So definitely need to work on recognizing my landscapes, like the farmlands that are near Stavanger. And then also my mountains, because I'm mixing up some of the mountains and landscapes together. But these are Lofoten Mountains. So distinct, sharp, rocky mountains with few trees can be seen on the Lofoten archipelago. Okay. These are not... Are these pine? This is like a lot of pine, right? Or did we just... I think this is like... Yeah, I think it's just like a southern pine meta. Okay, no, this is actually bright moss. So brightly colored moss is common to find in the area between Lillehammer and Opdal, which, did I even see a lot of bright moss? That feels like the wrong meta for the round. I'm actually going to click open this round, which I haven't done a lot. But maybe I should do that more like while I'm playing. I don't see a ton of moss. I mean, there's like some moss on the rocks over here, but I wouldn't say that's like the focal point of like where I was like zoomed into, but maybe it's not just like zoomed into the particular meta always. So in the picture here, there's definitely like a ton more moss than there was in the location that I saw, but bright moss will go near Lillehammer if we see that again. Okay, no bright moss. It is a very like vibrant green round. We have a lot of birches on the side of the road. We have a lot of like the wooden poles with like the flat lamps on top. Not a ton of snow, not a ton of mountains. A lake, perhaps. Let's just go near Hamar. A lot further north. Okay, this was the one along the Russian border, which I guess I just didn't recognize it, but I got it last time, so maybe it's just like a different location or generation or something like that. But along the Russian border, you can see this noticeably humid and green-looking road with very overcast and occasionally foggy coverage. The trees are somewhat low and mainly consist of thin birches and pines. There's an editor's note as well, so the street has been updated in 2025 and is now neither humid nor overcast. The only exceptions are some side roads around Spanvik. I included this meta nevertheless because some maps might still be using the Gen 3 coverage. Okay. Let's keep going. We are in a city. There are a lot of buildings around and are kind of like white with like red window frames or yellow with red window frames. I'm trying to see if there's any like city names or something on these buildings, or maybe I should look for like the actual like meta, because it's going to be something that's probably like on the ground, something attached to a building, or maybe it's just like a commonality between all the buildings. I don't see any fire hydrants, right? No green fire hydrants, I think. So let's go in Oslo. Okay, this was the town of Røros. So the old mining town of Røros can be recognized by the densely built traditional wooden architecture. Editor's note, this only applies to the central town. Okay, Røros. This is not Røros. Okay, so we have these like small concrete things on the side of the road, but they're not enough to like keep your car from like going over the edge. We're near a huge lake, a lot of mountains. I feel like the meta is going to be like, you're supposed to recognize this mountain range. There's a remarkable lack of trees, which tells me if there's a remarkable lack of trees very, very far north. Now, do I remember specifically where, if I've seen this before? No, but I'll go near Bardufoss and we'll see where we are, and hopefully we're not too far away. Okay, even further north, but I will take it. So, Norway north coast. So, coastal grasslands with little to no other vegetation and only somewhat low distant mountains can be found in the far north. Okay, solid outer lines, yellow middle. We have a big lake nearby. We've got this like sign with, is it with multiple languages on it? So is it Sami, like bilingual sign ever? So I'll go near Skiboten. Okay, so I think I correctly identified the meta being the Sami language, but we got 1.5, which I think is an improvement, because at least if I can identify the language, I know I should go like really far north in Norway. If we're in Norway, that is. So bilingual signs with Sami can be found in several northern areas in Norway. Not all the signs will be bilingual, but I think that sign I saw was. So good to recognize it. Okay, this time we're panned towards the mountain instead of the road. So this literally took my breath away, because why are we panned towards the mountain when we have this gorgeous like lake, which is like reflective of the sky and everything around us? Like, this feels like it stands out more to me than this just like random mountain here. But maybe it's like pointing me towards like the tree types or something like that. But I kind of just like want to look over here, because like picture worthy. So we're near a huge lake. Now there's going to be like a ton of lakes and bodies of water in Norway. So if this is a meta about a specific waterway, I won't know it yet, but hopefully I will remember it. So let's go near Storley. Okay, further south. Oh, so this is a fjord. I think this is our first fjord meta. So Norway deep fjord. So while fjords can be found along most of the Norwegian coast, deep fjords surrounded by tall mountains are most common between Bergen and Trondheim. And then Bergen is down here, and Trondheim is... Where is Trondheim? Why do I not know? Or why is it... Oh, Trondheim is up here. Okay, yeah. So between Bergen and Trondheim. Cool. I guess I don't know how to identify like a fjord from a different body of water, so this kind of just feels like another fjord again. Oda and Kinsarvik, I don't know those off the top of my head. It does say Oslo on there, so probably not too far from Oslo. And Idord. I don't want to like, I'm trying not to like focus too much on the cities, but like I will try to look at everything else. So is this ever like a fjord? So we'll go between Bergen and Trondheim. We'll go near Ford. Okay, no, it was not a fjord, or at least a fjord was not like the meta here, but it could have been a fjord because a lot of these like city names nearby literally have the name fjord in them. So I would assume that the city names are like named after like the fjord nearby. But anyways, these are barren highlands. So barren highlands with no trees or bushes and often with rocky mountains along the road are mostly found in the southwest. Okay. 7.7K, let's keep going. Okay, this is kind of like a windy road. It does feel a little bit more humid than maybe some of the other rounds, so I'm almost wondering if it's kind of like the near Russian border round, which I'm like, I probably should go up here. So let's go near Monkdelva. I literally could not be more wrong. I thought it was like those roads near the Russian border was like very humid, but this is literally such the opposite coast of Norway. But that is okay, because that's what learning is for, is making mistakes and hopefully learning from them. So this is an oak meta. So oaks are mainly found in the far south of Norway. Okay, we are in some sort of city. So last time we were in a city with like the dense roads, it was Røros. But I don't know if this is the same city or if it's a different city meta. But there's a lot of like white buildings around. Like I almost see like no red frames on the windows like we did in the last city one. A lot of these buildings feel very like square-like. So let's just go in Røros because that was the last city meta. But if this is a different city meta, hopefully we'll learn and remember it. Okay, this was Stavanger. Okay, so I did not look at the poles, but these are Stavanger stripes. So 2 red stripes going around the lamppost are commonly found in Stavanger. Okay, 2 red stripes, Stavanger. There are a bunch of trees which are kind of like covering the road almost, like they're providing like shade from like the clouds and sky. I don't know what type of trees these are. They're not pine, they're not spruce. Let's go further south, I guess, near Oslo. Okay, these were trees that were near Trondheim, but the meta says it's vast farmland. So, okay, we are surrounded by a ton of trees which have reddish trunks. Is this a southern pine meta ever? I feel like they just feel like a bunch of pines, right? So let's go Tidal. Okay. It wasn't a pine meta, but that doesn't mean that there weren't pine nearby. So this was a bracken meta. So this species of fern, Pteridum aquilinium, also known as bracken, which typically has a fairly tall stem and mainly wide leaves branching out, is mostly found in the south of Norway. Beware that other species of ferns can be found further north. Okay. Bracken. This is a church, I believe, because of like this like building here, but I could be wrong. There's some transformers around. There is this garden thing there. Yellow middle lines. Do I see anything on the poles? Not particularly. No bands that I've seen before. I don't see any like bamboo poles or blue. Is that another Google car? Hold on. I like zoomed out and then I zoomed in and I zoomed out again. Like, are there 2 Google cars in a row? Hello? Double Google car? Anyway, so we have that, which is probably the unique meta here because I don't think I've had any other round where there's 2 Google cars. I'm wondering if this is like a double language sign. So is it Sami ever again? Like we'll go near Overbigged. Okay, this was even further northeast. This is kind of like, it's kind of above Finland border. So it was the Sami language, which I did recognize, but I think the more unique thing in that round to me was the double Google car. So if anyone knows if that Google car can only be found on like one road in Norway, let me know down below because that stood out to me way more than the language. Although I did identify the language. So 4.5k, let's keep going. There are no trees. That is the first thing I know. Is this one of the things that's really far north? Or just one of those like barren highlands that's somewhere else? I feel like this doesn't feel particularly northern, even though there's a lack of trees. I feel like it's one of those like barren highlands that feels like a little bit further south. So let's go near Donbass. I don't know where the highlands are, but I feel like it wasn't particularly far north this round because I think I've had this before. Never mind. It was just a North Coast one. I misremembered it. That is okay. Let's keep going. We are in another city. But we're not like on a main road. It kind of feels like we're behind like a residential road or something. So green lampposts with kind of like gumdrop shaped lamp heads. White plates. Okay. The blue. I'm looking to see. I don't see any like of the fire hydrant metas I've learned. Do I see stickers? Ooh, is that 2 red stickers on the pole? I think there's 2 red stickers over there, because if there's 2 red stickers, there's 1 red sticker on this one. Can't see any on the other ones, but if I'm assuming it's a 2 red sticker meta, that was in Stavanger. So let's go in Stavanger. Okay, it was not a true red sticker meta. It was a white house meta. While completely white wooden houses can be found in the entire country, they're especially common on the southern coast, where you'll commonly see entire villages made up of them. Okay, so an abundance of white houses, probably thinking further south, but we still got 2,000 points, so I'll take that. We are near some sort of waterway. There's a ton of trees around. There's a little red hut thing on the side. Do I recognize anything here? No fire hydrants, no stickers on the poles, no double languages. Maybe it just has to do with like the type of waterway that this is nearby. Maybe it's like a particular place that's recognizable. The trees, it feels like there's maybe like a lot of pine. So let's go somewhere in the southern half. We'll go near Beetlestolen. Okay, even further south. This was the exposed rock meta, which I don't think this looked like the last round that I had the exposed rock in, with like kind of like the turtle shell looking back rock that we see like in this picture here. But maybe it was just a different example of it. So exposed rock, often spotted with small coastal pines and bushes, are mainly found on the south coast. Okay. It feels like fairly flat farmland aside from these like gigantic like hills in the back. So I don't know if I can say like this whole round is particularly flat, but some of the buildings are like white with like red roof, like red tiled roofs. So it might be an architecture meta. Poles do not have any sticker colors that I recognize. I don't see any snow poles that stand out. No little blue ones or large bamboo ones. So let's go somewhat in the south because there's a lot of trees. Let's go near Half Slow. Okay, even further south, this was the abundance of white houses meta, which is common along the south coast. So south coast, if there's a lot of white houses. This is a dirt road, not paved. We're between a lot of trees, but the trees aren't particularly tall except for that one that's right there. I don't see any like big mountain ranges. Like what I can see in the back is kind of just like maybe it is a mountain technically, but it's covered in trees, so it's very green. Not seeing any like snow, not seeing any rocks or anything like that. Sky's very blue, so probably Gen 4. What type of trees are these? These are not pine. They're not spruce, I don't think. I think there's something else. Or is this that bright moss meta? Hold on, let me see if there's moss. I don't think I see a ton of moss around unless that's what this is. So if it is the moss one, I'll go near Tretton. I don't remember exactly where the moss thing was, but I feel like it was in the south. Some part of me remember that because it was bright moss and we were very close. We got 4.5k on that round. So brightly colored moss is common to find in the area between Lillehammer and Opdal, and that's exactly where I guessed, and I got 4.5k. Okay, we got 8.3k overall with half of that amount of points being in that last round, but that is okay. I'm going to move on to the third map. Last but not least, we have a learnable Norway landscape. Wow. This is beautiful. I think this is potentially a fjord. I'm still not entirely sure what a fjord is. I'll throw up a definition on the screen for me to edit to share that knowledge with y'all if you don't already know. But I think that this is maybe a fjord. So let's go between Bergen and Trondheim, I think, last time fjord. So let's go near Sogndalsfjorda. Okay, not bad. This was a fjord, so I correctly identified it. So while fjords can be found along most of the Norwegian coast, deep fjords surrounded by tall mountains are most common between Bergen and Trondheim, which is where I guessed, and we're along the west coast. So I think my guess is pretty good for a region guess. We'll definitely take that. Okay, so this round is a green, but it's not like vibrant forest green. It's kind of more of like a lighter green. It's very bright outside. There aren't a ton of trees. It's somewhat hilly. It's somewhat like a farmland. I don't know what is being grown out here, if these are just like wild trees. Not super jagged, rocky mountains visible. This is definitely like one of those like farmland metas, and there's like 3 areas for them. I don't remember all of them, but I'll go near Oslo. Okay, this was a lot further north, so it was a northeast landscape meta. Small birches and rolling landscape, so the northeast of Norway can typically be recognized by a somewhat rolling landscape rather than tall mountains. Vegetation mainly consisting of very small birches combined with patched grass. Okay, small birches and rolling landscape. Okay, we're surrounded by a lot of tall trees. A lot of them have reddish trunks. I'm seeing some birches, but all these trees are super, super tall. So are these super, super tall trees going to be further south, further north? Are these pine trees? I don't think these are pine trees. I feel like these are spruce, so maybe a little bit further north, like the southern part of the country. Let's go near Trondheim. Okay, so these were actually pine. I guess I just don't remember what pine looked like, but they were coastal and southern pines, more common in the southern half of the country. Okay. We are surrounded by mountains. It does feel like a very vibrant green. The interesting part about these mountains is that they're like covered in trees and stuff on the bottom part, but then on the top there's snow kind of like interspersed with like the rocks that are up there. So we kind of like go from like a blend of green into like, you know, brown and white at the top, which I feel like I haven't seen like that particular like blend before. The shape is almost like really curved. It kind of feels like a scoop of ice cream. Like I'll throw up a picture of what I mean with kind of like the lines and waves in the ice cream, but it doesn't feel like very like jagged or sharp at all. I don't see any bodies of water, so I don't think it's like a fjord thing. I do see like a factory maybe behind this like line of trees back there. There are like city names on the sign in the distance, but I don't think that's like super visible, so I feel like that is not the meta here. Ooh. Okay, this snow pole thing that's on the side is not an orange pole. It's not small and blue, and it's not large wooden one either. Is it a bamboo one, but it's just like a darker color or something? Like, I think this is a snow pole, right? I feel like this is gonna be the meta here maybe, now that I'm like seeing this, but I don't know where it is, so let's go near Tarak. A lot further north. Okay, well, completely not the meta I was expecting here. So this was a northern scratches meta, so scratches on the road in the north of the country, north of Narvik. It is very common to see these scratches on the road, which are caused by snowmobiles in the area. Note that these scratches are somewhat difficult to find, so make sure to look closely if you suspect it's north. I low-key don't even see what they're talking about with the scratches on the road, so I think we'll move on from this one. Okay, we see a ton of trees around. It is a very wide road. It is a paved road. These trees are very dark and tall, like a dark green. Some birches, some with reddish trunks. I feel like there's a lot of pines, so I think I'm just gonna go somewhat southern. We'll go near Galo. Okay, this was spruce. So I feel like I've been mixing up just like the types of trees a lot. Like the times I've said it was spruce, it was pine. And when I finally say it's pine, it's spruce, and like vice versa. But that's okay, because we're learning and I'm not going to get it right away at first. So southeast and around Trondheim is spruce, mainly found in the southern half of the country. Okay, 2,000 points there. Let's keep going. Okay, we have bollards here, which this is like the first time we've seen like Norwegian bollards, which is interesting. So they're kind of like on white sticks, and then there's a black rectangle, and then there's a smaller white rectangle within that black rectangle on the right side. And then the one on the left is like a white rectangle, and then there's like a smaller black rectangle in the middle, and then there's two white circles within the black rectangle. So that's kind of how they look like to me. I don't think we've seen bollards in any other round, which is interesting. So, long white outer lines, bollards, very green area, not super mountainous, like a little bit hilly, I would say. I'm gonna go near Lillehammer. Okay, no. This was a small birches and rolling landscape, so the northeast of Norway can typically be recognized by a somewhat rolling landscape rather than tall mountains, and vegetation mainly consisting of very small birches combined with patch grass. Okay. Okay. We are surrounded by a bunch of green mountains with snow at the top of the mountains. I'm kind of in somewhat of like a parking lot in front of like a building. I don't know if that is purposeful or not, or part of the meta. I'm trying to see if there's anything like on the poles or anything that I've recognized, and I don't. I see a tunnel in the background. I feel like it's going to be something to do with like the waterway that I can see between the mountains, so maybe it's like fjord-like, so we'll go near Fayos. Not a fjord. Okay, so I guess this was a scratches on the road meta, which I just did not look down at the road, so that is okay because we'll keep going because I don't understand what it means by scratches on the road. There are no trees here. This is very like hilly. There's like a little bit of like some sort of stream kind of between the hills, but not a huge river or anything like that. No trees. I think we have to go very far north, so let's go near Alta. Okay, even further north, but I'll take it in 1.4k there. So this is coastal grasslands far north. Coastal grasslands with little to no other vegetation and only a somewhat low distant mountains can be found by coastal roads in the far north. Okay, we're on a road. There are forested hills around us. They're kind of rocky as well. I see some different colored houses. There's some yellow houses, there's some blue, some white and black. So not an abundance of white houses like I think are more common on the south coast because I only see one. I feel like I should look at the poles more because there's probably something to do with like the stickers or bands on the poles. That'll tell me what city we're in, but I don't even see anything on them, to be honest. Do I see any fire hydrants? I don't think so. So is this going to be a vegetation meta? Like, is this something to do with like the dandelions or like the flowers on the side of the road? Does it have to do with like the hill in the back? Let's go near Vinstra. Okay, a lot further north. This was the scratches on the road again, which maybe one day I'll learn it, but this does not feel like the day, so we'll keep going. There are a lot of red houses around. These houses feel shorter than maybe some of the other houses we've seen. There's a ton of like vans, like almost like camping vans, and like a lot of the driveways of the houses. It feels like it's almost like nighttime coverage, like it's about to become night. I see like a snowy mountain in the back, so somewhere kind of mountainous. Overcast-ish, kind of. It's a little bit cloudy. Let's go near Dombas. God, it really wants me to learn the scratches on the road meta. That is okay. 1.5k. With 4 of those metas being the scratches on the road meta, maybe one day I'll learn it, but I don't think today's going to be that day. So I'm going to play this map one more time and see how many more metas I can learn or remember or recognize, and we'll call it a day. Okay, this is somewhat of a forest that we're on a road in between. I was gonna say these trunks feel very wide, but I think there's something to do with like the camera like duplicating like the width of the trunk or something like that, because these feel very like the same dots, you know, so I think it's just like appearing twice as big as it should be. But either way, I feel like these are like bigger trunks than maybe like a lot of the trees we've seen so far. So whatever this type of tree is probably the meta here, because I can't really see any mountains, can't see any waterways. I can see some houses that are like white with red roofs, but it feels like kind of one property and not like multiple sets of houses. So I don't want to go along the southern coast, but because of the amount of trees, I think I have to go somewhat southern. So let's go near Geoguessr. Okay, this was a Pteridum aquilinium bracken south meta. So this species of fern, Pteridum aquilinium, also known as bracken, which typically has a fairly tall stem and many wide leaves branching out, is mostly found in the south of Norway. Beware that other species of ferns can be found further north. Okay, so I need to also look down at the ground at those vegetations and not just like up at the trees that are above. These are rocky highlands. I think there's no trees, so we have to go really far north. Let's go near Talvik. Nope. Okay, this was the barren highlands that are in the southwest. So barren highlands with no trees or bushes and often with rocky mountains along the road are mostly found in the southwest. Okay. We are in an area with tall grass. We have a couple of like rocks on the side, but not like a rocky hill. Lots of different trees. Like I don't know what this kind of tree is, like the lighter one. There's some birch. There's some with like reddish trunks. There's like a little bit of maybe like a lake to my left here, but I can't see like the full extent of it, how big it is. Don't see any snow poles, so nothing unique about that kind of meta. A little bit of a concrete thing on the side of the road, but not kind of like a whole guardrail or anything or barrier. It's probably going to be a vegetation meta here. I'm not certain of what type of trees they are, but there's a lot of trees, so let's go near Lillehammer. Okay, no, this was even further south. So this was the exposed rock south coast meta. So exposed rock, often spotted with small coastal pines and bushes, are mainly found on the south coast. Okay. We got 1.1k though, so not horrible. Okay, so we do see some bollards on the side of the road, which is not common for most of the rounds we've seen, but that was never the meta, I think. There's a lot of birches around. Like, that feels like the most common tree. I mean, there's also this kind of tree as well. No snow poles, no language or anything on signs. So one of the metas, there's like a lot of birches somewhere really far north, right? So let's go near Laxelv. Okay, nope. I guess it was the exposed rock south coast meta again. So exposed rock, often spotted with small coastal pines and bushes, are mainly found on the south coast. Last but not least, we're ending on a round, which I don't know if I had this round before, but I don't think it feels very familiar. Not super mountainous. It feels fairly flat. There are trees around. There are bushes on the side of the road. No mossy rocks. It does feel like there is a little bit of water in the distance, but not like a huge lake or anything. I don't think I recognize this particular round. So based on the trees and vegetation and the flatness, there's like flat highlands down here. Is it ever Stavanger? Like near Stavanger? Nope. This was the small birches and rolling landscape in the north. So literally as far as I could be, the northeast of Norway can typically be recognized by somewhat rolling landscape rather than tall mountains and vegetation mainly consisting of very small birches combined with patched grass. Okay. So ending on a 3.8k, which is not a great score, but I think it's still important to like show this and post this to show that like learning isn't going to be like perfection or even like good at first with everything. Like there's going to be things that you struggle with, that I struggle with, that anyone struggles with learning. So yeah, despite this not great performance, I think it is important to show. So that is going to be it for today. Thank you so much for watching this video of me learning Norway region guessing metas in Geoguessr for 1 hour. If you enjoyed this video, let me know down below. Also have all the maps linked in the description if you want to try it out yourself. Thank you so much again for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe to French Vanilla and have a great day.